Speaking of number of lives, here's a chart. So this is telling us that 6,286 people ended this episode with 0 lives. That means they're eliminated. So 6,286 people we say goodbye to forever, and that means we're down to the final 10,321. 37.9% of you will discover that you're indeed eliminated from EWOW. If that is the case, I do sympathize with you, but please don't beat yourself up too much over it. This competition by its nature is so chaotic and hard to predict, nobody really knows who will be out first or win. And on the bright side of things, you got to compete in 3 full rounds of TWOW.
Now that we've looked at the responses, let's take a step forward and look at how the contestants have been holding up. Here is the current distribution of lives, as well as how it compares to last round. Interestingly, each group with 5 lives or above went up in population, whereas the groups from 1 to 4 lives all went down. So, while Carey's on quite the wild run, he probably won't be eliminated anytime soon. Sadly, however, the same fate cannot be said for the 4,631 contestants who unfortunately lost their final life this round. Whether it was from placing too low or simply not responding to the prompt, we sadly have to say goodbye to our second batch of eliminated EWOW contestants.
Well, out of the 100 AI contestants, the number of AI making it to EWOW 5 is 88. So good news, if you made it to EWOW 5, congratulations, you've already beaten 12 of the ChatGPT bots.
We must bid adieu to the 1,928 contestants that have reached 0 lives this round. From the 1,000-odd DMPers to the 844 low placements, you have etched your names onto the rock of EWOW history. We hope you all enjoyed your time on the competition, and thank you for your participation. As a silver lining, the 3,760 surviving contestants can now confidently claim that they are in EWOW's top fourth of contestants. Good luck to you all as the crowd continues to thin.
As for the AI, they suffered their first eliminations last round, losing 12 of their number. However, did any AI end up getting eliminated this round? Yes. 11 more AI have been eliminated this round, dropping the total AI count to 77.
On to the life count stats. As more people get eliminated, this 0 life pillar is just going to keep getting larger and larger in comparison to all the others, so we're just going to remove it for now. Sadly, 1,190 people lost their final life this round, leaving EWOW at its final 2,570 after round 6. So the 1,190 of you, we hope you enjoyed your time in the competition, and thank you for playing.
What about the AI contestants? 77 AI entered the EWOW 6 arena, and a total of 57 AI make their way to EWOW 7.
That's right, 20 AI lost their mechanical lives this round.
Let's discuss life count stats. 742 E-Wildlings lost their final life this round, meaning 7/8 of the original contestant base has now been eliminated. We appreciate your participation and we feel your loss deep in our hearts.
As for how the AI did, well, out of the 57 AIs currently alive, we lost a grand total of... 9. Yeah, that's pretty concerning considering that we lost 20 AIs last round.
On to life count statistics. 506 people lost their last life this round, leaving just 1,322 people alive.
For the AI placements, I have some wonderful news to share. They are all extremely dead. Well, not fully, just that none of them managed to place within the safe region this round. Out of the 48 remaining robots, 18 continue to threaten the state of humanity, while 30 were compromised to a permanent end. The percentage of the game that was AI was 2.63% last round, and as of this round, it's 1.36%. Definitely indicating that your computer science jobs are safe.
Let's not forget our life count statistics, where, oh my goodness, is that a 10 I see? As a matter of fact, Scorb jumped up from behind to snag a prize and hit the life cap just before Leafy Dice sets in. Also, that was the first time that digit was used. We weren't sure if it would work. However, this also means that we had to say goodbye to 350 more innocent books this round. Although you may not become the next Zodiac animal, your lives and your responses will be forever remembered. We've received more reports regarding the AI.
The AI? I'm aware. In fact, I've been thinking that it's about time Ewowers brought down those brutes. Unfortunately, that didn't happen this round. The last round saw an impressive push against the AI population. They remain a menace to the Ewow population. After this round, 8 AIs are still kicking. However, that does mean their number is still decreased by more than half, and they comprise less than 1% of the population.
Also, with 15,635 books tragically defeated in their EWOW quest, this means that every living book is now in the top 1,000 and has already outlasted nearly 95% of other EWOWers. If EWOW itself was an EWOW round, you're all nearly at the prize zone!